Welcome to the Social Media Sucks If Show, where we talk about brands that suck. Here's your host, Sebastian Rusk.
What is happening, everybody? Hey, welcome to the second episode of the Social Media Sucks If Show. That's right, we're talking about brands that, well, suck at certain scenarios pertaining to social media. That doesn't mean they suck as a whole, disclosure, but some scenarios based on their campaigns, all kinds of wrong. We want to talk about them, not to highlight them and put them on blast. That happens by default. We want to be able to learn from their mistakes. Now, there's also brands that don't suck, and we also want to be able to highlight their efforts so we can learn from them and put that in our arsenal of social media tricks to implement for our brand. Hey, let's not waste any more time. Let's get right down into our first story that definitely sucks. Now, I'm a fan of this brand and their product, but of the recent news of Ray Rice and his spouse and the domestic violence that took place, it shed light on a lot more awareness that needed to be shed onto domestic violence. Now, when that happens and organizations and individuals and women specifically, because in this case, a woman was the victim, you don't want to, as a brand, leverage any of that conversation that's taking place. And that's what this brand did. Digiorno's Pizza. It's not delivery, it's Digiorno's. You got a great product. I've been eating it for years and I love it. But that doesn't necessarily justify any of your social media efforts or me endorsing them. What had happened, and you'll see pop up on the screen here, is Digiorno's sent out a tweet with the hashtag that was being utilized for the domestic violence awareness conversation, which was hashtag why I stayed. Digiorno so inconveniently tweeted hashtag why I stayed because you had pizza. In context, it sounds quite comical, but when you tie it into the hashtag and the conversation about domestic violence, it just isn't a fit. Now, Digiorno, she did step in and recon, apologized profusely, and well done on that, but that does not remove the fact that you did blend a brand message with an awareness conversation, something that's very, very serious and people are extremely sensitive to, like domestic violence. So while your brand and your product is awesome, in this case, Digiorno's, your social media sucks, and I'm forced to give you 2 out of 4 bow ties. Come on, Digiorno's, clean it up, you know better, but well done on apologizing, and well done on everyone voicing their opinions, thoughts, and adding on to this awareness about domestic violence that everyone needs to learn about. Now, moving into our second social media story that definitely sucks. On the second episode of the Social Media Sucks If Show, this is an oldie but a goodie, but not that old. Our friends at McDonald's, that's right, decided to create a clever campaign called hashtag McStories. Wow, did this turn into an absolute McExplosion via social media, at least. That's right. They thought maybe people would share the experiences that they've had with a Big Mac or possibly a double cheeseburger, maybe even a Happy Meal. That wasn't the case at all. No, it backfired. Things went completely bananas in the opposite direction for McStories when people, as you see popping up on the screen, started to get comical about what their McStories were. One gentleman actually said, "My fondest memories of McDonald's is actually being able to stop and utilize their restrooms." Another one said, "I used to eat McDonald's all the time, but then I started to feel like I was dying, so I stopped eating it." As you can see, McDonald's, epic fail on your attempt to go social with McStories. Come on, McDonald's, you've been around forever and a day. You should know better. I'm giving you 2 out of 4 bow ties. Your food sucks, and so does your social media in this case. Come on, clean it up, McDonald's. And that brings us to our third and final story that doesn't suck for this episode. My friends at Arby's. Now, if you watched the 2014 Grammys, you would have seen that Pharrell showed up at the Grammys with quite the interesting wardrobe / hat. Hey, it's Pharrell. With that creative swag, he can do whatever he wants. Now, I wasn't sure if he had actually stolen that hat from Smokey the Bear, or he just found a very creative stylist to lace him up with it. In any event, Arby's took the cake that evening by sending out a tweet shortly after the Grammys had started that said, "Hey, Pharrell, can we have our hat back?" That's absolutely genius. Now, if you look at the Arby's logo and you look at Pharrell's hat, there are some similarities. Now, the story didn't stop there. Pharrell actually responded back about 4 a.m. and said, "Hey, Arby's, you want to start some roast beef?" That continued a conversation in which Pharrell then auctioned off the hat to the tune of $44,000 for his charity, and Arby's stepped in, ponied up the cash, and actually bought the hat and donated it to Pharrell's foundation. So it was all said and done. It was a great evening for the Grammys, a great evening for Pharrell, and it was also a great evening for Arby's. Why? Because it not only just absolutely exploded their exposure that evening in real-time marketing, but they understood the value of making sure that their eyes and ears were open during a live awards performance like the Grammys. So in this case, social media does not suck, Arby's. You guys are awesome. Keep up the great work, and I'm giving you 4 out of 4 bow ties. Well, that's it for this episode of the Social Media Sucks If Show. I'm your host, Sebastian Rusk. We'll see you next time.